So I'd like to introduce our next speaker, Isabel. And there you go.
Hello, I'm Isabel, and I'm Senior Strategy Analyst at Hot Spring Publishing Group. I thought I'd share a narrative of how I got there as well. So many people fall into scholarly publishing by accident, and I am actually here really just because of search engine optimization. Because I was living in London, I was like, I'm sick of this, I want to live back in Oxford. Googled job, Oxford University Press came up. I was like, oh yeah, I always wanted to work there. It's got really cool columns. And so I then looked down the list of jobs, thought market research, yeah, nice. Applied for that. And it was only once I got inside that I realised that it was an industry that is completely amazing and that I would come to care incredibly deeply about it. So I started in market research, doing internal market research projects mainly, but in my spare time I just started reading more and more about the industry and realised that no one was really formalising or synthesising this into decision making within OUP. So I started doing more of this informally, and then it kind of became my job over time, as well as sort of special projects for the board on a kind of ad hoc basis. And if you sort of know what's going on in the market, then I think the next natural question is, what should I do about it? So internally, I moved into digital strategy. I then oddly left the industry, despite absolutely loving it, because I wanted to gain broader experience and thought that the industry maybe sometimes could do with a little bit of some other perspectives. So I joined a retail and leisure strategic consultancy, which was great. I got to work with lots of different businesses. It was a really good focus on what end users do. They have a much more laser focus on user experience and things like that than we, I think, sometimes do. And I planned on being there for a few years and come back with like all this amazing knowledge. But then Hot Spring came knocking with this job, which turns out to be like basically my dream job. So I had to leave that path. I was only there for 8 months. Now I'm at Hot Spring, which is a company that actually most people have never heard of, and also whenever I say it, people say Hot Spring. So I really have to work on my pronunciation. But it's a small family-owned private investment business. So it's not really important as a brand, but it owns companies that obviously you will have heard of. So Macmillan Publishers, famous for like the Gruffalo or the recent Fire and Fury book. In our space, it's a majority shareholder of Springer Nature and Scientific American that we heard so much about today. Owns digital science. It has a lot of owns German newspapers, digital startups, education startups, all kinds of things. And my remit is on strategic planning, particularly investments, merger and acquisitions, due diligence, market analysis, and things, with a focus on science and technology. So it's basically amazing. And the reason that I particularly like it is, yes, every project is fantastic. We're a really, really small team. And so we sort of pick and choose projects depending on what has the most value. You also get a bird's eye view of what's going on in multiple businesses, which is a very curious person, is brilliant, and something I really loved about consultancy as well. And also 90% or more of what I work on is highly confidential, which means it's obviously really interesting work. In terms of challenges, they are absolutely challenges, but also things that I love. So like everything that we have to do is apparently the most important thing, and then it has to be done right now. So balancing these equally important priorities is definitely difficult sometimes. Synthesizing different views and perspectives. We work with most of our decision making is with sort of C-suite CEOs, but there's financial investment people that we work with and business development and stuff like that. And it often falls to our team to make sure that everyone's on the same page and that the sort of narrative is coherent, which is intellectually incredibly stimulating, challenging, but in a very good way. And also every business that we work with has its own personality, which again I love because you get absolutely great variation, but you do have to change the way that you work sometimes, even over the course of the day. So essentially, how many dots? Oh, pretty much over. It's amazing. I've given a narrative perspective because I may have started fell into scholarly publishing by accident, but and then I haven't since had a grand plan apart from that. I haven't had a career plan, but I've had like a passion plan because I realised that what I wanted to do is be increasingly involved in improving science, improving research, making the world better in that way. And then if you follow that then you may well end up in a job that you really love and care about. So that's me.
Thank you.